every team in the West is going to try to contend next season. Or that is except for one team, that team being the Utah Jazz. I mean, the team that finished dead last in the West last season, finishing with a record of 17-65, not really adding a go-to option on their team this season, not really drafting that well, once again not having a top 3 draft pick despite tanking for the 3rd year in a row. You know, they have a bunch of question marks, and the only thing certain with them is that they're not going to be very good, at least not in my opinion. And well, with a team that knows they're not going to be good, isn't really planning to be good, the one thing that typically leads to is them being open to trades, especially around the trade deadline, and them being more of a seller rather than a buyer. And well, for the Utah Jazz, that likely means that they're open to trading their veterans, guys like Lauri Markkanen, Georges Niang, Kyle Anderson, Jusuf Nurkic, even an older veteran like Kevin Love. They're probably all in the market and only will be more available as time goes on. And well, for many Laker fans and many fans simply watching the Eurobasket competition, they have caught the attention of Lauri Markkanen, a guy that's currently 3rd in points per game at the Eurobasket competition, followed by the Lakers' very own Luka Doncic and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Markkanen averaging 25.4 points per game, not to mention having a 43-point game not too long ago, dropping 43 points on 6 of 9 from the 3-point line, or rather 7 of 13 from the 3-point line, let me correct that. A guy that definitely is very talented when healthy, but a guy that does have a very large contract and has not been so healthy lately to go with it. So with that in mind here, could Lauri Markkanen be a good trade target for their team, either right now or potentially later on at the trade deadline? Is he a good trade target? Is a different veteran on their team a good trade target? And are they simply a good trade partner? We'll talk about that and try to break it all down here. You know, I've seen a few of you commenting about it and being very impressed with him throughout Eurobasket. Again, he's played very well and has scored very well for the Finland national team. So will that translate to a more productive NBA season? Is coming off a down year for himself, averaging only 19 points per game and roughly 31 minutes per game, shooting below 35% from the 3-point line, having a near career low rebounding season for himself, definitely not being as productive or efficient compared to usual, only playing 47 games not to mention, that being a career low for him. So is a rebound year in order for him? Maybe a potential breakout year for him, or kind of a part 2 breakout? Maybe. But even with that, and with the hopeful and optimistic outlook with that, we kind of recognize how hard it would be to trade for him and the pretty bad contract they simply not lived up to that would come with him too. If you don't remember, he did sign a 4-year, $195 maximum contract with the Utah Jazz, that being a fully guaranteed contract, and again, one they simply not lived up to. A guy averaging only about 19 points per game on 35% 3-point shooting, a guy that's not a good defender, even a defensive liability at sometimes, and even has to be hidden at sometimes on defense too. A guy that definitely has contributed to the Utah Jazz having a bottom 3 defensive rating in the NBA for 3 years straight, and even a guy that's not a good rebounder for being a 7-footer. Definitely are some drawbacks here with Lauri Markkanen, despite the offensive talent, despite what he can be when healthy and when actually locked in. There's a lot that comes with him too. I mean, from a trade perspective, what it would take to get him and what it would take to make a trade work financially for Lauri Markkanen, it would take a lot, and in my opinion, something in a package that would simply not be worth it. At that point, we're looking at a package of Rui Hachimura, Gabe Vincent, Maxi Kleber, and one more contract with them. Either at the trade deadline, maybe a guy like Marcus Smart, that could actually make the trade work, though again, I wouldn't do that. Maybe a guy like Jared Vanderbilt, but that's the kind of salary and combined salary it would take to make a trade work for Lauri Markkanen, and no, not for other players with him, just for Lauri Markkanen here. That's obviously a lot to give up. I mean, at this point, and with his enlarged contract that he's simply not lived up to, I wouldn't even trade Rui Hachimura for him straight up. Gotta factor in contract value here, not simply talent and numbers that they put up, gotta factor in the value that comes with them, and at this point, his value is at a very low point, despite what he's doing at Eurobasket. So no, I hate to break it to those that have been commenting about it and wanting to trade for him, thinking that it would be a good idea to trade for him, but I don't think it would be. In fact, I think it would be a terrible idea to trade for him. What it would take to give up for him, the fact that he's really not a good fit for their team in my opinion. After they got DeAndre Ayton, there's really not a spot for him. I mean, he wouldn't be a good option for their starting center anyways, and with them needing more defense and two-way ability in their rotation, that's not the fit that Lauri Markkanen would give them and not the player that he is. But I think that'll pretty much do it for this one. And if you enjoyed the video, then I would greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day or night.